Today I fucked up by attending my parents' divorce hearing and getting fired from my job. So this happened many years ago. I was working at Abercrombie & Fitch and I actually really liked my job. Retail sucks, but the people I worked with were awesome. I was an exemplary employee and was good friends with the manager. Cue the Thursday night before my shift the next day. The old man comes down to my room to tell me he needs me and the other siblings in court the next day to testify in the divorce hearing. Me being the 17-year-old I am thinks nothing of my job and immediately understands the gravity of what was being asked of me. With custody of 5 minor children on the line, this kind of ask was a big deal. Additionally, none of us thought we'd be dragged into court for testimony. I woke up the next day, put on a tie, got in the car with my 5 other siblings and went to the courthouse. We didn't end up having to testify, but not once in that entire time did I think about work. I was mainly focused on keeping my 9 and 10-year-old siblings collected and calm. That was my Friday. On Saturday, I got a call from my manager asking if I could come in to cover someone that day. I said NP. So I drove to the store to clock in, and when I punched in my number the screen said something along the lines of employee not found in system. I called out to my manager who put in his key and then quickly became as confused as I was. He makes a call the assistant manager who was working there yesterday to see if she knew what was going on. Turns out the district head of Abercrombie was in the store on Friday. She was known to be a real ass, saw I wasn't there and then fired me on the spot. No phone call, no talking to my manager, nothing. This woman never even met me nor investigated if this was a first offense. She straight up deleted my name out of the system. Consequently, I ended up being blackballed from being hired at any Abercrombie & Fitch in the country because of it, so I ended up working at another retailer for several years to help me pay my way through college. TLDR, had to attend my parents' divorce hearing and in a lapse of judgment forgot to call work. The DM visited that day and fired my ass soon as she realized I didn't show up to a shift even though it was a first offense. Those fuckers. I will never shop there again. Of course I'm 54 and fat, so I'm not exactly their target demographic. Are they still in business? You should shop there then. Damage the brand. I got fired from a job for taking too much time off. This time off was one sick day after a weekend in a hospital bed, and I had, in my brutal state, made arrangements for a replacement. Fired and replaced by someone, a friend of theirs, already lined up to take the job. So they clearly had plans. Another gig fired me for being late once so the boss could give her brother a promotion into my position. Employers all talk about family when you start. You just don't know they only mean their own family. My one and only visit to A&F was 11 years ago when we visited New York, coming from Germany. It was loud and dark and strange. There were normal staff that would help you and the good-looking ones that just stood there and smiled and started to panic when asked something. When we went outside it started to rain. While we were standing in the entrance fighting the umbrella, one of the greeters came to us and asked us to move because he had to work. We moved, he opened his shirt a bit more and struck a pose. Very surreal. Currently working in a grocery store. I've met the corporates a single time and they told me not bring in more than 4 carts at a time without using a strap. Continued to bring in more at a time by hand than you can fit into the strap. Bigwigs stay trippin'. A store I was at once was located in an airport, before security and on the metro line, so we actually got our fair share of regular shoppers but not at 8 AM. The DM was there one day in the morning when I, a manager, was working as just staff with the store manager, because she could trust me alone if they needed to talk in the back. I had just put a table of crap in the front of our store at opening, at 7 AM, and someone walked by. DM then scolded me for not greeting them and trying to entice them to come into the store. It was 7 AM. They were walking briskly and happened to glance left at the activity of a person moving a table. They were obviously walking to a plane. Who the hell wants to be assaulted in a hallway? You like that shirt? Then come in the store at 7 AM and buy shit. No. Turns out the DM had never actually worked in a retail store on the floor before. The DM job was her only retail experience. I feel your pain. I was fired from my Bath and Body Works job because I was dying in the hospital. My mother called me out the weekend of Mother's Day and said that I had a 105F fever and was unconscious. Victoria's Secret did that to a co-worker who was actively giving birth. Today I fucked up by impulsively hypothesizing why cadavers have gotten less expensive at a departmental meeting. I have just horrified my entire university department today. We were discussing potential hires for an anatomy and physiology position and the conversation turned to our cadaver lab. We have the luxury of having a couple of cadavers each year, which is a selling point for a smaller undergraduate program. One colleague mentioned that maybe with the new hire we could acquire more cadavers if the new hire's research needed it. Another chimed in that the price of cadavers through our supplier had dropped substantially and that extra cadavers could be a real possibility. I impulsively hypothesized out loud that the supply due to COVID must be driving the prices down. I watched as horrified looks came over my colleagues' faces. I could not help but think about how this would reflect on me as a non-tenured faculty member. Too long didn't read. I shocked my colleagues by suggesting that the cheaper cadaver price was due to COVID. Edit, thanks for the awards but don't spend real money on this. The department is a diverse group with many folks who are not in the medical sciences, including myself who is quite queasy and have never been in the cadaver lab. In fact, I am grateful that I don't need to sit in on the teaching demo. The meeting was over Zoom and perhaps my perception of their reaction is colored by my own discomfort and horrification that I blurted out something that is insensitive to loss the country has experienced. I have no idea whether my hypothesis is true, as there has been discussion about whether cadavers can come from COVID deaths. There may be other contributing factors, less in-person classes, etc. I mean, you weren't wrong. They shouldn't have acted horrified as if that thought hadn't crossed their minds. I think it was a mix of shock that was probably the reason, and guilt that we were somehow benefiting from 500,000 deaths. There is a massive oversupply. I lost my dad over the summer. He wanted to donate his body to science. The place he chose wouldn't accept him due to COVID. He died of cancer, not COVID. It was an overall policy. A lot of places I tried to offer him to were the same. Those that were accepting were completely overloaded and couldn't take more. Additionally, a lot of the need for these bodies was gone with the lockdown. Add to that the number of poor that have been killed with COVID who will need the option of free body removal, the largest source of donations. You are right in your assertion. I mean, you work in the industry of science and cadavers and this bothered them. Seems like a solid deduction to me. One that may even be worth researching for validity or finding out other reasons. Schools were shut down and maybe they couldn't get rid of them fast enough. I don't think you fucked up. Another good hypothesis. I think the gravity of the pandemic just hit home in another unexpected way and it caught people off guard. Your colleagues will recover. They probably forget about it faster than you. I have experience with recovering from awkward moments myself. Smiley face. Is it safe to use a cadaver from someone who died from COVID? Or is there no concern about infection once the host has died? I have no freaking idea, not my wheelhouse, probably not given the preservatives. Today I fucked up by eating too many almonds. This happened today. I was pretty busy with work, and didn't have time to make lunch. I reached in my pantry to just grab something to snack on, and found this massive jar of almonds. I set it down next to me, and just casually munched down while working. Less than an hour passed and the entire jar was empty, but I thought nothing of it. That was until my wife pointed out that I ate the entire jar, which was over 10 servings, or 1,600 calories. I laughed a bit at my surprising bout of gluttony, and then moved on. About an hour after that, the stomach cramps came on in full force. That was about 1 p.m. It's now 11:30 p.m., and I'm still reeling from these cramps. My stomach keeps expanding and contracting like I've got tides going on. I've been to the bathroom over 7 times, and each time it's worse than before. Apparently, you're supposed to limit your almond intake to below a cup a day, max, and I had almost 3 cups. The biggest potential dangers include poisoning, cyanide, and giving myself an almond allergy. Current side effects are severe constipation and diarrhea, the feeling of a brick slowly carving its way through my intestines, nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite. I've done nothing but drink water and wait, as everything else gets promptly evacuated. I'm still in pain, my stomach just angrily gurgled, and I have the feeling that I need to go and vomit again. I don't think I'm going to have a good night of sleep. TL, doctor, I forgot what a tummy ache feels like. Edit, thank you everyone for your unexpectedly wholesome support. I had a terrible night of no sleep, but it seems like the worst part has passed and the cramps are finally gone. I'm not touching another almond for a while, and I'm going to make sure to respect the suggested serving sizes on high fiber foods. Learn from my mistake. Edit 2, I was wrong about it being over. That's nuts. I would start drinking a lot of fluids, and not just water. You are gonna lose a shitload of electrolytes from the trots and the nausea. Powerade or Gatorade or Gastrolite, or your local equivalent, will help you here. Excess almond consumption and its side effects, like what you're going through, can cause kidney stones, and believe me, you don't want one of those. You really don't want one of those. I have had one kidney stone in my life, and I literally said goodbye to my wife and newborn as I thought I was going to die. I had no idea what was going on. I went to the emergency room. Female doctor was looking after me, and when she told me it was a kidney stone, I was relieved. She then told me that she has had 2 children, natural births with no pain management and 1 kidney stone. She said she would rather have another baby. Kidney stones are no joke. Drink water. I guess at least your butthole will get a nice exfoliation. You need to drink fluids like it's going out of style. 2 bottles of water and then a bottle of Gatorade. Or urine should be so white the snow on top of Mount Olympus is impressed. Start flushing your body to avoid the toxin buildup. Edited to fix a word. Oh no, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I have no helpful suggestions, just words of encouragement. You can do it. I believe in you. Ride it out and survive. Survive.